Welcome back to Fight Weekly, where this week we'll be covering the main and co-main event fights for UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi, Whittaker versus de Ridder. We have some great fighters at the top of this card, and the main event is going to be amazing, with Robert Whittaker taking on the new UFC rising star RDR. And our co-main event features Petr Yan against Marcus McGhee. Let's take a look at the co-main event fighters. Petr Yan is the more experienced fighter, having held the belt in the weight division before, and he rode a loss streak after losing the belt, but has recently bounced back with some impressive performances. He's 32 years old in his physical prime and 3 years younger than his opponent Marcus McGhee, who's 35 years old and holds an impressive 10-1 record. The height and reach are close, and with that good of a record, you would expect the odds makers to think McGhee is good competition for Petr Yan, but nope. Yan opens as a -370 favorite, and his recent fights might explain why. Petr Yan's losing streak came at the top of the division against top-ranked guys. First was a split decision loss to Aljamain Sterling, in which the statistics show it was a very even matchup, but Aljo squeezed out a few more minutes of control and a couple takedowns, which could explain how he won this fight by 1 round on 1 scorecard. Then he lost another split decision to Sugar Shane O'Malley. Personally, I couldn't believe that he lost this fight because he secured so many takedowns through the fight, he had good striking output, and scored over 5.5 minutes of control time, but the Sugar hype train was too hot, and again he loses by just 1 round on 1 scorecard. And then he took on the current champ, the machine Merab Dvalishvili. Merab really started his reign here as he dominated Yan. Merab doubled the striking output of Yan, and not to mention the 11 takedowns and almost 7 minutes of control. And then in 2024, Yan came back with 2 fights and a bounce back, starting with Song Yadong. He scored more on the striking statistics, but not by much. Yan showed elevation in his grappling game, even securing some takedowns and won the big moments when they mattered to secure a decision win here. And in his last fight, he took on Figueiredo after he came up a weight class. And it was his most dominant win in recent times. He scored almost 4 times the striking output as Figgy, and we already saw how the grappling was improved from the last fight. The striking was on full display, and Figueiredo didn't have an answer of any kind. It led to Yan winning all 5 rounds on all scorecards, a very dominant win. And it's off that fight that he's coming in this weekend ready to face off against a 10-1 opponent, Marcus McGhee. Now, we can't say McGhee has been fighting the same level of competition that Yan has, but he has 4 UFC fights since 2023, and let's see what they look like. First up, he had Journey Newson, where he not only got to show his heavy hands, but also shows that he knows how to finish the fight on the ground too. He rolls that win into the next fight, where he gets a clean right hook that makes JP Bai's face plant onto the canvas and gives McGhee the round 1 TKO victory. And his next fight is against Gaston Bolanos. He finally reaches the 2nd round, but I think that's more worse for his opponent than it is for him. He was beating the crap out of Bolanos, wanted the walk-off TKO again, but instead it's a standing TKO after the ref lets Bolanos eat a few more headshots. And in his latest fight, he took on Jonathan Martinez, where he finally went a full 3 rounds to a decision. McGhee won 29-28 on all scorecards, but looking at the stats, McGhee doubled the striking output of Martinez to help secure himself a unanimous decision victory. And now he's facing the former champ Petr Yan, who has all of the experience on his side, even has youth on his side. But McGhee has been trending up and looking very impressive in each of his UFC bouts. Will he be able to find a way to beat Petr Yan, or will Yan's skill prove to be too good for McGhee? We find out this Saturday. Our main event is going to be a great fight. We have 2 guys that are trying to prove themselves and earn a championship fight. It's a similar story to what we saw in our co-main event. We have Robert Whittaker, who is a tested veteran in the UFC, fought multiple times for the belt and has beaten all of the top guys in his division, going against RDR, the newer guy in the UFC who is trending up. Whittaker is in good form, having some really good wins recently, but is also coming off of a loss, which we'll cover soon. Both of these guys are 34 years old, and when we look at the odds, it kind of makes sense. Whittaker is the favorite, sure, but RDR is only a +150 underdog against the best challenge of his life. Now, he is 4 inches taller and almost 5 inches longer on the reach, and that helps, but that helps a striker more than a grappler, and RDR is not known for his striking. So let's see what Whittaker's form has looked like lately. In 2023, he fought the current champ Dukas.
Who's fighting tonight, Joey?
Who's what?
Who is it?
Duplex, Strickland, Dukas, and then you got Pennington.
So Dukas had Robert on skates in the 2nd round, and it seemed like every punch he landed had the power to put him down. It didn't take long until Bobby Knuckles folded in the corner of the octagon for a TKO loss. He did bounce back though. In his next fight, he fought Paulo Costa, where he won very dominantly, showing 33% more output on the striking statistics, and earned himself a unanimous decision victory. And after that fight, he fought the Muslim Russian Ikram Alaskerov, where we saw some of the best Robert Whittaker we've seen in years. He put it on him in the 1st round, insane head kicks and pressure striking to get the the round 1 TKO win. But he thought he could do that to every Russian Muslim and went for Khamzat Chimaev next. This was a brutal loss for Whittaker. Chimaev got control within the first 15 seconds of the fight, had him down and with insane pressure from the grappling, and ends up securing a rear naked choke over the chin. He didn't choke him out, but he literally broke his lower teeth palate for a submission win. And this weekend, his opponent is none other than Reinier de Ridder. RDR has had just 3 fights in the UFC, but they've all been amazing to watch. Starting from just last year, his first UFC opponent was Gerald Meerschaert, where RDR managed to out-grapple the guy who's known for his grappling skills in the division. He landed 5 takedowns and outputted double the strikes as Meerschaert, and then ends up tiring him out and securing an arm triangle for the submission win. Could it have been a fluke? Maybe, so the UFC feeds him a top 10 journeyman, Kevin Holland, where de Ridder once again shows his grappling is on another level. Gets Holland down and takes his back before securing a rear naked choke from this side body triangle position. Okay, so he's got good grappling. The UFC gives him to one of the top NCAA wrestlers they've got, Bo Nickel. And shit, did Bo Nickel get embarrassed. Not only did he lose, he didn't even get to grapple with RDR, as he gets finished with a knee from RDR that crumbles him in the 3rd round. And off that win, he's coming in this weekend to face the toughest opponent yet. Both guys are trying to get to the top of the division and be there for the next title fight. Will Whittaker get another chance at gold, or will RDR fast track his way to the top of the UFC? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. And that's all we have for this video. We broke down the main and co-main event fights for UFC Fight Night, Whittaker versus de Ridder, going down in Abu Dhabi this Saturday. Thank you for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more UFC content, and as always, let's enjoy the fights this weekend.